They're going to break them up. We need a financial system which works with small and medium-sized businesses, which helps us create decent paying jobs, not a system which is a world unto its own. There are so many major issues out there, but there is one issue which is uniquely significant because it impacts every other issue. And I do not have to tell you that the Supreme Court decision on Citizens United was one of the worst decisions in the history of this country. By a 5-4 decision, what the Supreme Court said to the billionaire class is, okay, you guys already own much of the American economy. Now we're going to give you the opportunity to own the United States government, and that is precisely what they are trying to do right now. It is a disgrace, in my view, that virtually every campaign for president has a super PAC which is controlled by millionaires and billionaires. And what that means is the billionaires have more influence over the campaign than the candidate actually does. It is beyond comprehension that one family, the right-wing Koch family, a family that wants to destroy... you know about the Koch family. Now, the media forgets to tell you this, but the Koch family wants to destroy... They don't want to cut Social Security. They want to eliminate Social Security. They don't want to cut Medicare or Medicaid. They want to eliminate those programs. They don't want to cut the EPA. They want to eliminate that. They don't want to not raise the minimum wage. You know what they want to do?
Get rid of it.
Eliminate the concept of the minimum wage so that low-income workers could be forced to work for $4 or $5 an hour. That is their idea of freedom.
Are we going to have to pick cotton too, or what?
That's right. That's right. This one family is going to spend more money on this election than either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Now, when you have the second wealthiest family in America spending more money than either of the two major political parties, brothers and sisters, you are not living in a democracy. You're living in an oligarchy. And we're going to turn that around. And when we talk about the issues facing this country, everybody here understands that we live in a competitive global economy. And if we are going to survive economically as a nation, we need the best educated workforce in the world. There is something profoundly wrong that today, in the year 2015, hundreds of thousands of bright, capable, qualified young people who desperately want to get a higher education, want to make it to the middle class, want to become doctors or engineers or teachers or whatever. They cannot do it for one reason. Their families lack the funds. In my view, that is not only unfair to those young people, it is unfair to the future of our economy. And that is why I have introduced legislation and will make happen as president to move us forward so that every public college and university in America is tuition free. Now what that means more than just making life easier for kids in high school who will be able to go to college. It is something more profound than that. What it means is that kids today in Iowa and in my state who are in the 5th grade, these are low-income kids, working-class kids, like me, their parents may never have gone to college. Like me, their parents didn't know families who went to college. And the idea of going to college is some kind of impossible expectation. Never occurs to them. And these are the kids who drop out of school. These are the kids who end up going nowhere in a hurry.
Yep.
I want every kid in America, regardless of his or her income, to know that if you study hard in school, if you pay attention, if you do your schoolwork, you will be able to get a college education. And the other half of the legislation we've introduced, the other half says that it is absurd that millions of people, some young and some not so young, are being crushed by outrageous student debt. Now, it makes no sense to me that we have people paying 6, 8, 10% interest rates on student debt when you could refinance your home today at 2, 3, 4%. So our legislation will allow people with student debt to refinance at the lowest interest rates they can find, and our legislation gets the government out of profiteering off of student debt.
We love you, Bernie!
When we talk about our responsibilities as parents, as adults, as human beings, there is no responsibility more important than that we leave this planet in a way that is habitable for our kids and our grandchildren. The debate is over. The scientific community is virtually unanimous in telling us climate change is real, it is caused by human activity, it is already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world. And what the scientists also tell us is if we do not get our act together pretty quickly, the situation will become much worse. What they are predicting, if business goes on as usual, that by the end of this century, this planet will be between 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer. More drought, more floods, more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the ocean, more rising sea levels, more international conflict as people fight for limited natural resources. We have the moral responsibility to lead the world, to work with China and Russia and India, to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And I want to congratulate the people of Iowa for helping to lead in terms of wind energy. And when we talk about our needs, it's important for all of us to understand that our great country is the only major nation on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right.
We want health care!
The Affordable Care Act has made some progress, but we still have 35 million people uninsured, and many of you are underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments. And many of you cannot afford to buy the medicines that you need because the drug companies charge us the highest prices in the world. So if we are serious about making health care as a right, if we are serious about providing quality health care to every man, woman, and child, if we are serious about having a cost-effective health care system, we must move to a Medicare for all single payer. I mentioned a moment ago that as a nation, we should be proud that we have over the last many years become a less discriminatory society. And that's true. But we should also be aware that racism remains a major problem in America that together we must overcome.
Right on,
I know that I speak for all of you, that we are sick and tired of reading about and seeing videos of unarmed African Americans being shot.
right!
We know that if those individuals were white, the odds are very strong that that would not have happened to them.
True.
So what we need is to do everything that we can. And I promise you that as president, no president will be stronger in fighting against institutional racism. And furthermore, we need major reforms of our criminal justice system. I was a mayor for 8 years, and I work with the police department. Anyone who thinks being a cop today is an easy job is mistaken. It's a tough job. And the vast majority of cops try to do their job well. But when a police officer breaks the law, that police officer must be held accountable.
That's right! That's right!
And we need to take a hard look at the so-called war on drugs, which has destroyed many lives in this country.
End it! End it! Legalize
We need to take a hard look at minimum sentencing, which is giving nonviolent offenders a criminal record which will haunt them for their entire lives. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something else. As soon as Congress reconvenes in September, I will introduce legislation to get private corporations out of the business of running jails. Private corporations should not be making profit
That's
off
right.
the incarceration of Americans. That's wrong. And what we also need to do is when people are arrested, provide a path back to citizenship, back to civil society for them. Right now what happens? Too many of our people leave jail, they got no money, they got no jobs, they got no education, they got no housing, and shock of all shocks, they end up back in jail. We can do a lot better than that. Brothers and sisters, when we talk about bringing our people together, black and white and gay and straight, let us never forget for one moment, there are 11 million undocumented people in this country, and many of them are being exploited, and their exploitation impacts every worker in America. I was in Phoenix last month meeting with a number of young Hispanic kids, tears rolling down their eyes as they worried about whether they would be deported or their parents would be deported. What we need to do is provide legal protection today for the undocumented. We need comprehensive immigration reform. And we need a path toward citizenship.
Immigrants built this country!
Now, let me say to the many of you who are here today who have been active in the Democratic Party, we've got to ask ourselves some really hard questions. And here's the questions that we have to ask ourselves. How does it happen that Republicans win more senior votes when the Republican Party wants to either privatize or cut Social Security? How does it happen that the Republican Party wins more working class votes when the Republican Party is working day and night to shut down plants in America through disastrous trade policies and send their jobs to China? And the answer, I'll tell you what the answer has a lot to do with, and what we have got to come back. The answer has a lot to do with the fact that the Republicans have been very successful in dividing us up.
Yep.
For years they have divided whites from blacks. For years they have divided straight people from gays. For years they have divided men from women. And now they are trying to divide us from those of us who were born in America from those who were not. And we cannot allow them to get away with that. We have got to expose their agenda to every working class Republican